All right, we are here today and very excited about a special guest. And I will just say, one of my first females in 10 years I've ever interviewed. It's typically the man show. And we're here on Retirement Coffee Talk Radio and podcast. And I just have to say, she is a role model to so many Americans across the country and worldwide, actually. Wrote a book, beautiful book, so everybody needs to get that once I announce who this special guest is. Entrepreneur, amazing podcast person, and I will say, most powerful voice today, not afraid to exercise your First Amendment rights. And so, good for you. Without further ado, I have Candace Owens in the house.
Oh, yeah. Thank you so much for the sweet introduction. That was so kind.
Yes, well, you are fierce and powerful, and I wish there was more of you, believe it or not.
So sweet.
Yeah, so just some fun stuff. You're 6 months pregnant. Yeah. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I've been pregnant for the last 3 years, so I think it would be weirder for me to not be pregnant at this point. We're doing 3 under 3 with this one. So, I don't even remember what life was like not pregnant. I've just been living pregnant for the last 3 years. I'm an elephant now.
No, you're not. Yeah. You're not. Are you done after this?
No. I want a big family, so this is just another stop.
Okay, so 5 and done?
Maybe. I told my husband initially 10 because I was playing the Overton window. So I was like, if I sell him on 10 and then negotiate him downward, he'll think he's winning. So that's why I say women, double whatever amount of children you want and then have him negotiate down and he thinks he's winning.
So we're really going to have to wait for a very long time before you're the president of the United States, you're saying?
Yeah.
Well, let's talk about the kiddos. I have 2 children today, and society is such a mess sometimes as we see it. How do you feel about raising children in the crazy world we're in today and the future inheritance they're going to actually have to take over once, we're gone?
I'm confident every single day in the children that I am raising with my husband. We know what our values are, and I really believe that if your values are in place and you raise them to be good stewards of those values, no matter what's going on in the world, they will be able to thrive. And there's always something going on in the world. I mean, I was watching a show about the Great Depression. I mean, if you talk to your grandparents, their great parents, there's always something to contend with. So no generation is going to be immune to that. And it's all about really just preparing them.
Right. So we got to get these parents really caught up these days, it seems like.
Yeah, exactly.
So, speaking of, I'm going to plant the seed again, being the president of the United States one day, fun question. Who would you pick as your VP?
Easy answer, Thomas Massie.
Okay.
Yes.
And why?
Absolutely love him. I think that he is probably the most brilliant congressman that we have. He stands up to his own party when the time is right. He never just goes with the way the wind is blowing, and he does not care if he is disliked. And I find him to be the most principled person in Congress. And even when he votes in a certain manner, and I'm like, what was that vote? He takes the time to explain exactly why he voted that way. And I have not seen a circumstance where he got it wrong. He also really embodies what I believe Americans need to be. He lives off of his land. He's absolutely brilliant, graduated from MIT. He somehow has rigged the system, and I think he doesn't even have to pay for electricity on his farm. He's got a farm. And so I just love Thomas Massie. I'm a huge fan.
Very cool. Yeah, I get it. So let's talk about women in finance. Because studies out there say many, many women, over 50%, will not be prepared for retirement in the future, which is a scary thing because they're taking care of the families, right? Demographically, that typically happens. So what advice can you give to women across our world and country on how to be prepared financially?
Well, to be involved, first and foremost, everybody's household runs differently. I actually come from a private equity background, and I think what's interesting, though, is that now that I'm married, we kind of have our own categories, and my husband tends to the finances, but I keep my finger on the finances, and I always know what's going on. It's interesting to bring up a study like that because it makes me wonder, are they alone? Are these women alone? Are you in a family unit? These are the sorts of discussions that you should be having with your partner. You should never be in the dark when it comes to your finances. And these are conversations that you have right when you get married. I remember having that conversation. It's such a weird phase when suddenly your two are becoming one.
Right.
I think think what might be happening, and of course I don't have the study with me, but a lot of people are abstaining from family because they're climbing the corporate ladder, and actually things get remarkably easier once you become married and you're able to blend your finances together and set realistic goals. But those conversations have to happen at the beginning of any relationship.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much. That would be very encouraging to a lot of people out there, because we do, as women, feel like, we want to climb that ladder, right? And but we also we have that mother goose thing in us. We want to raise our kids. So I know you're working hard, being the entrepreneur and raising children. And if you make it to 10, I'm a good nanny. I was a nanny in college.
Okay, good, because my toddler's a criminal. My 2-year-old's actually a criminal.
Like
so
it.
we actually think we need a prison ward.
Yes.
Yeah.
I might be able to learn something, right?
Exactly.
Well, thank you so much for today. We truly appreciate it. You are the voice, in my opinion, of reason, the voice for Americans today, and you just keep up the hard work, because we are excited to see you bloom and what you actually do over the next 10 to 20 years.
Thank you so much,
so
Charisse.
welcome.